Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Hope. One of my favorite words. It's a word that is universal. You can explain the word hope to people who don't even speak languages. You can show people hope by example through your actions, how you conduct yourself, how you wake up every morning and go about your day, go about your business, and how you overall view yourself as a person while getting things done and not making excuses and holding yourself accountable. All the things that we talk about with the Brave Never Fall, as far as self-discipline, self-love, knowing your value, knowing your worth, only investing in people who are invested in you. You are your own ray of hope. And it's very easy to be discouraged in life when it comes to people who want to not only live in their own frame of reference when it comes to hope, but they also want to live in their own frame of reference when it comes to their own way of getting through each day. Because everyone has a different version of what they think hope is for themselves. It's no different than anything else in life. Hope for one person is different for another. Some people look at hope in a category of almost like you're wishing or you're just hoping to be lucky, that you're waiting for something to happen to you, that something unbelievable or remarkable or unexplainable, a miracle, is going to happen to you. And until that happens, you're stuck in limbo because you're waiting, you're procrastinating. You're sitting back and you're saying, I deserve something. And perhaps you do. Perhaps you do honestly deserve a break. You deserve the big answer to all the questions that you've had. You deserve to be under the umbrella of all the people that you feel like have had it a little easier than you, unjustifiably in a lot of cases. To all the people who were unfair to you, to all the people who have gone the distance in ways where you can't really visualize how they got there based on the type of people that they are, the scenarios that they've been through, all the things that make up a person, all the things that make up this individual. You look at them and you just say, wow, how did this person get to be where they are? What is it about this person? Yet you continue to sit back and you don't talk to this person about what they've been through. You have no idea. So in a certain sense, you're judging someone based on hope and luck, miracle, and words like that, when your definition of it is different than theirs. That person may not believe in hope, luck, miracles at all. They may just be a person who goes and get after it. They may be a person who's been extremely fortunate in their life, and maybe they're not taking it as seriously as they should. Maybe they're taking that for granted, and it comes across as if this person has had an easy life. Maybe they have. But no one has an easy life for the entirety of their lives unless they've lived a very short life. Anyone who plans to grow old and live a full life, I don't care how much money you have, how much quote unquote luck you've had, how many miracles that happen to bestow upon you from whichever God you believe in, whoever you worship spiritually. At some point, you're going to get to a point where there's going to be a trial. There's going to be tribulations. There's going to be severely hard challenges in your life, and money can't buy your way out of it. How many times have you looked on the news and you've seen someone who has everything and all of a sudden they found themselves in a situation where they're looking like, hey, they could be sitting right next to you. Doesn't matter how much money they have or where they grew up, who their parents were, who their children are, what job they had, how many businesses they own. It doesn't matter when life hits you in the face, when that big boulder comes out of the sky when you're not looking, it hits you in the back of the head and wakes you up, and you turn around and say, what the hell was that? There is no definition of what class of person you are that would distinguish you as different from any other person in the world who is going through a hard time. At that point, you're all in the same boat. At that point, you have to dig deep down inside into who you are, into the mind, into the body, to the soul, and especially into your heart. Because you're going to have to experience feelings and emotions that you've never experienced before. And you're going to have to trust yourself to get yourself out of this situation. You're going to have to will yourself past obstacles that you never thought you could ever get over. You're going to have to hope that there is enough strength within your body and all those quadrants, that you're strong mentally, physically you're strong. You have a deep spiritual connection to something, and that your heart's in the right place. Because this trial, the tribulation that you're going through, this struggle, it's not going to go away because you're asking it or begging it to go away. It's there, and you're going to have to face it. And the only way you can face it is by being bold, being brave, and trusting who you are. And that's where you get to hope. Now you can see hope. This is how I have always visualized hope. I don't want hope to come to me in form of, I hope I get lucky. I'm hoping for a miracle. I'm hoping for a break. I don't want any of those things, because in those things, I don't learn anything about myself. If somebody walks up to me and says, hey man, would you like a job? It's going to pay very well. You may or may not like it, but pays good. Something I think you can do, you're going to take it. It's up to me to either accept that challenge or move on from it. I love challenges. I love them. And I can't recommend them enough for people to create your own little challenges every single day just to see how you respond to them. And they don't have to be big. And if someone comes up to you and offers you a job, you have a choice to make. Do I want to break out of what I'm doing that's comfortable and go to this thing that's clearly a better job for me? But I might not take it because I just don't know what's going to happen. I just don't know what to do. If you ever think about that, yes, you are comfortable with where you are at your job. This is just an example we're using. Yes, you are the type of person who may thrive in your work environment very well. You're well respected, and it's not time for you to go. Completely understandable. But there are other people, and this is getting back to when you look at other people and you start judging them about how they're going about their life, and you start throwing things at them like luck, and they caught a lucky break, and it must be a miracle that this person did this. What separates people who don't want challenges to the people who do is that the people who do want the challenges, they're taking the challenges because they know they're going to learn more about themselves, and no matter what happens, they're going to grow. And that outweighs the temporary enjoyment of being content and being comfortable, because we all know it is temporary. Nobody's content and comfortable forever. So you can either be content and comfortable and wait for that inevitable day where you're going to be very uncomfortable and wish you had maybe took a little bit more chances in life and took that extra job or took on that new challenge at a job. Again, we're just using this as an example. We'll move on to other aspects of this in a moment. It's not about jobs here. We're talking about a mindset towards a particular goal that anybody can relate to. That job is going to teach you so much more. And let's say you take the job and you don't like it. Well, you already know you can go back to your other job anytime you want. As long as you didn't burn any bridges and you were doing what you were supposed to be doing, that job you already have is not going anywhere. You can go back to that anytime. That's no longer a challenge for you. That's comfortable. You've conquered that mountain. You're just sitting on top of it looking at all the other ones that you're thinking are too big to climb. You're not ready to take on a challenge. You have no hope. When you put hope in those terms, that mountain at the top of it, that new mountain, while you're sitting at the one that you already got to, and you're standing there and you're ready to move on to the next one, if you're ready, if you're truly ready, that's when you start to move. Until then, you're going to sit there and you're going to stare up there and you're going to say, I don't really believe I can take that on. I don't think I'm lucky enough. It'll take me a miracle to get over that new mountain. It's going to take a lot of me. It's going to take more of me than it took for me to get to where I'm at now. And it took me a lot to get here. I think I'm just going to stay right here. Nothing wrong with that. But don't you dare judge anyone else about what they're trying to do in their lives. If they are succeeding, if they walk right past you and keep walking and they start heading up that other mountain, don't say it's luck. Don't say it's a miracle. Don't say they caught a lucky break because something happened along their journey when they passed you by that you didn't have. You both got to the same spot. Doesn't matter how you got there. You both, at a point in time, were standing in the same spot, which means anybody who has accomplished anything in this world, you have an equal opportunity to get as close to that opportunity they had as you possibly can. Whatever they succeeded at, you have an opportunity to match that. You may not ever get there, but the closer you get to it, that is a creation of hope. You're no longer trying to receive it in and hope that it manifests in front of you. You're creating it yourself. At that point, you're not even manifesting. It's a fact. You're going to do it. You're going to say to yourself, I'm going to get as close as I possibly can to that damn goal. And I'm going to start right now. I'm just going to start walking. I don't care how I'm going to get there. I just want to move closer to it. I want to see that mountain in high definition. I'm standing in standard definition. I want to get to high def. And then I'll move on from that when I get there. When it's clear and I'm standing in it, then I'm going to go to another thing that's a little blurry on the horizon. I want to tune that up and get to high definition. I want to see as much of this world as possible in high def. It's clarity of life. Those people who are walking past you and going up that mountain are planting what I call the flags of hope. Flags of hope. They're guided by their vision. They're guided by their determination, their self-discipline, the self-love they have for themselves. They love themselves too much to stand still. They love themselves too much to stand in stasis, hoping and praying and wishing for things that you can go get right now with effort and resilience. When you block out the rest of the world, you stop listening to all the chatter. You stop listening to the chatter in your mind. You start getting that under control. That's a podcast and videos we've covered and we'll continue to cover. But for right now, you know what you have to do with that mind. That mind is not your friend. Your mind is not always your friend. Your heart is always going to be your friend. It'll never let you. It's trying to warn you about all types of stuff. Intuition is a huge deal. But your mind is tough love. It's going to challenge you and push you and push you and push you and make you doubt yourself. And it's not doing it because it hates you. It's doing it because it wants you to rest. It wants you to stand in stasis and chill and not put forth all that extra effort it's going to take. Your body wants to rest. It wants you just to say, oh, let's just lay here. That's not what your body was made for. That's not what your mind was made for. Your mind is capable of so much. Just because it's telling you something doesn't mean you have to do it. It's not your parent. It's not your teacher. It's not your president. It's not your emperor. It's not your king. It's a part of you. Don't be afraid of it. Because it wants you to be afraid of it. And the people who succumb to fear are usually the people who are afraid of things they don't understand. And if you don't understand your mind, of course you're going to be afraid of it. You don't know what your mind's capable of. You don't have a clue about how to respond or react to certain things in life that are going to pop up. And your mind knows this. And it's going to take advantage of you. And your heart is going to validate those feelings because it's going to send all kinds of butterflies in your stomach. It's going to make you apprehensive. It's going to send you anxiety. And you're going to cower away. You're going to stand still. And somebody's going to walk right past you, right up that mountain. Unfortunately, most of the people in the world have those fears to various degrees. Not everybody is a super strong, maniac who is just running around doing all these incredible feats. Those are very, very special, unique, alien people. However, that doesn't mean you can't get as close to that type of determination and will and strength, because the closer you get to it, the better. Which is why, going back to the job, if somebody offers you a better job, why not take it? If nothing else, you're going to learn new skills even if you fail at them. You're going to learn new skills. You're going to feel stronger and bolder that you took on a challenge that you never thought you would take on. And if it doesn't work out, big whoop. You can go right back to doing what you were doing before and get paid more because now you're coming back with a new skill set. You learn something. You learn something. There is no disadvantage for challenges in your life. You're always going to be rewarded from them. That's why I love challenges. I love trying to create a little challenge for myself and getting a victory out of it, because there's no downside to it. I'm going to gain something every single time I consciously make the effort to create a little challenge for myself to overcome something. And I know the reward is that I'm preparing myself further, mentally, physically, spiritually, and with my heart, to overcome and adapt to anything. They talk about certain things in this world, like anything that a chameleon who can change its colors and adapt to its environment. Octopuses do this a lot. I love octopuses. They do this a whole lot. And if you ever have an opportunity to look up what an octopus means in in terms of being spirit animals and things like that, it's very interesting how an octopus translates into our world, because we mimic all the time. Even as children, you're mimicking people all the time. That's why parenting is so crucially important at a young age for any form of development in a child, because they mimic. And they don't just mimic words, they don't mimic how, they mimic everything. They see and they adapt, which is why having your kid around particular people at a young age is very important. You don't want to get the wrong babysitter. Having the wrong teacher at the wrong time for a kid can be very detrimental to their progress. I went through that. I had a fourth grade teacher. I'll never forget her name. Her name was Miss Warren. I'll just leave it at that. But she was really, really old, way too old to be teaching fourth grade kids. And I was an excellent student up until that point, and she nearly broke me. From that point on, I hated going to school, all the way up until I was probably in college. She just got me to a point where it almost traumatized me how it was a form of bullying in a way from a teacher. And it wasn't just me in the class. She was like this with everyone. But she had her own little way of doing it to everybody in the class. She had a reputation of this. Parents complained about her. And I remember being in that class and being like, is this what it's going to be like for the rest of my life as we get old? It's like, is this a level of teacher? And then is fifth grade going to be worse? No, I did have better teachers going forward. But it's at that point in time, that was not good for me. And that's going back to the octopus mimicking is, what if I chose to mimic that cruel teacher at that time? And I decided I'm going to be an asshole. I'm going to be mean. I'm going to have bully-like qualities, and I'm going to go forth like this. I chose not to mimic her. I chose to mimic other people. And back then I had a wild imagination. So the people I mimicked were like in movies. There were characters in movies. So I kind of took virtuous. I always loved heroes and things like that. So luckily I idolized heroes in stories, and I love villains to this day. I still love villains. Are always the best in the story because they always have a more interesting arc. They always have a more interesting, realistic life journey than the hero. The hero is always, I'm me, and I'm going to do everything the right way. That's the knock on Superman, right? Superman does everything the right way to the point where he almost is not interesting. My favorite superhero is Batman. Why? Because he treads the line of being a villain himself by being a vigilante. So that's a much more compelling, interesting story than Superman, who is this virtuous guy who does everything right, cannot be beaten by anyone for the most part, unless he has the kryptonite. So when you're in life and you're mimicking other people, like the octopus, the octopus is an extremely smart, adaptive, evolutionary marvel. This creature is something else. It's one of my favorite animals ever because of the intelligence level, and it can mentally outsmart everything around it, but it also has no bone structure to think of, so it can shapeshift into anything that it wants, and it can change colors. It can problem solve. They have long lifespans, and a lot of times they have a hard time spotting these things because they can just sit there and you have no clue that they're there. And I have always liked them for that, and I've always gravitated towards that animal because some people would say that form of mimicry where you're just kind of invisible is not a good thing. Some people think that's unhealthy, You should not be that invisible. People should notice that you're there. You know, why would, and I always thought, why not? I can choose not to be invisible anytime I want. I'm making a choice to do this. No one's making me want to stand back and observe and be cautious and take in what all the knowledge that I need and gain intelligence and know how to adapt to everything around me and everyone around me. It's smart. That's actually a smart thing. The octopus did not develop these skills over all these millions of years of evolution for no reason. They adopted these skills for a reason. And the reason is because it is thriving, not surviving. The octopus knows it has a better chance of survival than almost everything else in the ocean just on that aspect alone, that it can at any point in time choose not to be seen. Now, it's not invincible. It can be found and killed and captured. We know that. But nothing in this world is invincible. We're talking about giving yourself the best opportunity to thrive. Giving yourself hope that you can make it past each encounter. And giving yourself the best tools and knowledge to blend in, adapt, and be smart about it. That's why I love octopuses. But getting back to the human quality here, hope is one of the things that I don't really think of in terms of something I incorporate into my self-discipline, into my self-love. Like I said, I think about them as flags. I use them as markers. I will think in my brain, if I'm walking my journey, if I look down, I'm on my path, my own path. No one else is on it. It's just me. I'm looking forward. I can see right in front of me. If I look up a little bit more, I can see the horizon. I want to visualize myself planting flags that say hope on them, planting them. And I can see, from what I can see, I can mark those spots for what I can see. And I just need to get to those flags. Everything else that happens in between those markers, I will adapt to. Those flags do not get picked up. They are left for the people who are coming behind you who need your help. You don't pick them up. You leave them. That's knowledge. Each one of those flags contain knowledge. It shows other people somebody has been here before. I can do it. Because I'm not only following my flags, I'm following other people's flags who have walked a similar journey. I see them all around me. I'm not alone in this world. Everything is connected. Everyone is connected. It's how you go about it. Your mindset, how you deal with it is what's going to determine ultimately what you do in between those flags of hope. If you get blindsided every few steps between those flags, so be it. If it takes you 10 years to get to the next flag, so be it. Just visualize those flags been there. And when you reach that spot, plant your flag. In that spot that you visualize that you knew you could achieve and make it. This is not something you do if you don't believe in yourself. This is something that you envision where you know it's done. It's done already because you started moving. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter if you get off course. As long as you keep it in sight, just try your best to get to that next flag. That's hope. That's hope. And that's all you need sometimes. Of course, we're human beings. We're going to catch breaks here and there. Accept them and be grateful for them. You're going to have little small miracles in life. Be very grateful for them. I had one in my son, been born 4 months early, and he survived something no one thought he could survive. He's had all the challenges you can think of as a child, and he's still here. He's my miracle. Some people say you only get one miracle a lifetime. If that's my one miracle, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's the best miracle. Do I believe in miracles? Yes, because my son's alive. So I do believe in miracles. Do I believe in luck? To a certain extent. But I believe luck is something that can be blurred with hope and creating for yourself. Because being lucky is also about timing and being in the right place at the right time, right? And quantum physics and astrophysics and as far as our theory of relativity, you can't make an appointment with someone if you don't know the place and the time. You can't meet up with someone if you don't know both. You have to know the place and you have to know the time. Luck, it has to land there too. So you can't be lucky unless luck is involved with, in space and time. So I always found luck to be more of a coincidence than anything, and a gift. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I got lucky meeting this woman, or I got lucky marrying the man of my dreams. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's because in a way, if you want to describe that moment where it's undeniable and unexplainable that something happened and it's beneficial to you, then you can say, yeah, I got lucky. But you can also say you got lucky if you walked out on the street to because you dropped something and you look up and a car almost hit you and you step back and it went past you. You got lucky there too, right? But there's other examples of luck going all different types of direction. Luck is too unpredictable for me to actually incorporate in my life as I do hope, because it just has this unpredictable, coincidental property about it that can be explained in other ways. Like luck, sometimes you can trace luck to something and you realize it wasn't luck at all. It was determination by somebody else or something else happening that was out of your control that you just happened to benefit by in that moment. So it's not really created by you. And I don't like things always being put in the hands of something else to that extent. A miracle is one thing. An unexplainable miracle is one thing. Relying on luck, like people say, I hope I win the lottery. I hope I get lucky and win the lottery. That has nothing to do with you. I mean, that is, if you win the lottery, that's a miracle. That has nothing to do with luck. It's a flat out miracle that anybody wins the lottery for that person, because so many people play the lottery and don't win. It has to be a miracle for a person to win. If I won the lottery, I would say that's a damn miracle. I wouldn't say I got lucky. I might say I got lucky if, again, I'm picking something up and a car almost hits me and I dodge it, or you get in a bad car accident and you survive. But I think you can blur that into a miracle. Anytime your life is threatened and you survive, that's a miracle. So what is luck? I think luck it's a coincidental type thing that oftentimes can be traced back to something else, and you find out it's not luck at all. It's actually it's a created thing by someone else or something else that just happened to meet you at a certain place and time. Which leaves me with, again, those flags of hope. Because I think we all need hope. We need hope that we can get through another day unscathed. Hopefully the same, if not better than we were when we woke up. You never want to go regressing back into something that was not so good for you. Going back into darkness is not good. But it also is a good feeling to know that with hope, there's always a chance. And sometimes that's all you need is a chance. With hope, there's an opportunity. With hope comes a dawn of a new beginning. And sometimes that's all you need. That's all you need. And as we head into intermission, remember, everything and everyone in this world is connected. Ever notice when you needed hope at a particular point in time where you thought everything was lost and you were at your lowest point and things seemed like they would never get any better, and you were living in a cloud that put you in a funk of depression? Your nerves were always on edge and you just felt so unbalanced and not yourself. I remember times like that, and I know a lot of people who go through things like that, and it's very hard to look at people who have given up in life. They have been through, justifiably and understandably, so much in their lives that you can understand why they don't want any more help. Now you can offer them all the help in the world, and they just don't care. It just doesn't matter. They've given up. It's one of the saddest things to see in a human being, because it's to paint a picture. When these people talk to you, they paint pictures that you just can't understand them sometimes. It's almost like they're talking an alien language. They've lived such incredibly unique lives that were so hard that you can't even fathom how you would have gotten through some of those days, some of those years and decades that these people have been through. And I, again, knowledge is an incredible tool when it comes to that. And I think history is an incredible tool when it comes to hope. Because they always say history repeats itself. And when you look back into all of the ages of us being on this world, as far as human beings, and I'm a huge history buff. I love astronomy and I love history. I love architecture, and I love. Hopefully, one day I'll be able to explore this beautiful world we live in. But all the ancient civilizations that have been here before us, you just think about these people's lives relative to yours. And I love talking to people who have interesting stories. I love talking to people who have been through things that I would never have been through, and I could never go through in my life. There are just certain people, they have lived things you just cannot live. You will never experience what these people are experiencing, because they're circumstantial, they're situational, and a lot of it was based on, again, time and space. People with just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Again, going back to mimicking people and being raised by people were not there for these people, or maybe were there too much for these people and spoiled them rotten, and they end up basically shells of what they could have been or what they were. I look at that and I think back to history. I just think about, when you think about things like slavery, when you think about the Holocaust, when you think about going all the way back to the World Wars, when you think about, even if you really want to go really far back, just think about, like, forget about people, just animals during the Ice Age, what the dinosaurs went through when the asteroid hit. When you talk about real problems, life-changing world events that are so big, your mind can't even grasp the magnitude of how big it is. You can't even wrap your mind around how big some events happen in this world alone. And that's just this world. That's not even counting the solar system. Just think about a star when it goes supernova, how much energy that is and how much intense world solar system changing event that is. It's a powerful event. And then you come back to yourself and you think, well, I kind of feel a little tiny now. I feel kind of small. And that is the whole point of thinking like that, is that it's easy to forget that you're much you're part of a much bigger network of life and situations and things going on all around you. Again, you're in a nexus. Everything's connected. And you're playing a very vital role in that. So when I see people who get so discouraged and they have nothing left to give, and they're just down on their laurels and they just have no idea what to do next, and in many cases, they've thought about what to do next so much and not having a solution to it that they've decided, I don't want to think about what's coming up next. I give up, and unfortunately, some people do take their own lives. That is the ultimate saddest story of all is when someone feels they are so detached from everything around them that they feel like they're not wanted in this world anymore. They can't find their purpose. They can't find the strength, the will. The prayers are not being answered. Luck is not involved, and they sure as hell aren't getting a miracle. If this is you, you need to seek help. And there are so many people out there. If you know someone like this who feel like they're so down on themselves, they have no hope, you have to offer these people help. And if they won't accept your help, go find it for them and get these people help, because they are valuable. And I tell people this all the time. I have had people that I've known have taken their own lives, and I often think about them. And there's been other people who didn't take their own lives, but didn't care enough about themselves enough to actually keep up the care they needed for themselves. And they just gave up on life, refused to see doctors, buried themselves in drink and drugs, and they're no longer with us. That's why hope to me is so powerful, because again, going back to the octopus and being a mimic of life, I want my son to see me as something positive that he would want to mimic. That alone right there gives you a purpose. Anytime somebody wants to mimic you, they say, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Uh, it's a compliment for someone to say, I want to be like you. And I used to hate that. And I use that word strongly I used to hate it, because I'm a very creative person. I like to express, but I don't like to hide sometimes what I do. And unfortunately in this world, especially with social media, you can't just put out all your creative work, because somebody will take it and run with it. Next thing you know, you're looking at an article online and this person is a millionaire based on something you freely gave away to them. So I'm very hesitant to show everything that I can do. I don't say that I dumb everything down, but I don't like putting all of my talents out there, because people do troll and they do want to take your stuff, and they'll run with it if they can, capitalize on it. And it's your fault if they do, because you didn't protect your assets. But it's a strange thing when somebody wants to be like you. And I'm not saying a lot of people want to be like me. I'm talking about my son. I would hope, again, that word hope, I would hope I'm a good enough example that he would want to be like me. And the only way I could do that is I have to be the best version of myself possible. But ultimately, I hope that he doesn't want to be just like me. That's a starting point for him. I want him to be far better than I am. Isn't that the whole point of human evolution, is passing the torch? Again, going back to history. All those Egyptians who were building those pyramids. I mean, all the slaves who did the groundwork to build up this country. All the railroads that were built. The Native Americans that were pushed out of their lands. The Jews who were killed in the Holocaust. All these people, all the people who died in World War II. Those are all things that hopefully, as a people overall, you pass the torch and say, don't be like us. We fought like this, so you don't have to. You have an opportunity to be a better person now, because we sacrificed ourselves. We wanted to be better. And sometimes we had to fight against our will. Sometimes we had to do things against our will. Sometimes we had to build against our will. But we did it. Don't be this. Whatever we had to go through, you find your own path. We're doing this because we want to give you hope. And that's what I love about hope, is that you can go back into your own personal history like that and give yourself hope. You can remind yourself at any point in time who you really are. Being stuck in darkness can be looked upon as a weakness by people, and I sometimes don't feel that way. Sometimes that darkness is needed. Not to the extreme where you feel like you're so invaluable that you have to take your own life. That's not what we're talking about here. If you feel that way, again, please go get some help. Find resources and believe, and truly believe, you are wanted and people love you, because they do. Everybody has a purpose. That doesn't mean you don't get in ruts, because I know I lived in a dark cloud for close to 20 years. A very, very dark cloud. I managed it the best I could, but I had no hope. I had no idea what I was doing. I was fishing for everything. I got to the point where I felt like I'm so lost, I can pretty much just do whatever I want to do. It doesn't even matter anymore. It led to some narcissistic qualities I had in myself. I've never been a narcissist, but I could see why somebody would say that I was at certain points in my life. I'd be the first one to admit that. I'm not proud of it, but I was in a dark cloud. And it was many times I felt like I had no help and I wanted to give up. But there was always something in the back of my mind that said, you can't give up. Otherwise, why the hell were you here in the first place? This is what you were here for? Just sit in a dark cloud? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. There has to be a reason why you're here. And it's your purpose right now to figure that out. That's what got me out of that cloud. That was my first flag of hope, is when I realized there is no reason in the world why I am here so I could be in this cloud, to sit in darkness. What is my purpose? What is the point of this if I'm just going to sit here? There is a reason why I'm here, and I'm going to make that my purpose, to figure out what that is. And if it takes 30 years, it takes 30 years. It took me 20 years to figure out what my purpose was. I didn't sell myself short and say, I think I found it. Okay, I got it. I knew I would know what it was when it was here. And it's not just one aspect of it. It's a whole host of aspects of it. But you have to fall and fall hard multiple times before you can get to that point. It doesn't come easily. It doesn't. When you get in a dark cloud like that, digging your way out of it is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your entire life. And people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that you're going to be sweating and crying and emotionally upset and get rejected, and fail over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. No one wants to hear that, but that's what it takes to get out of it. Because you're going to be pushing your mind in areas, and your body in areas. Spiritually, you're going to be pushing yourself, and you're going to be super emotional trying to get out of that cloud. But it's those flags of hope that I planted for myself that aided me along the journey. And I knew I wasn't alone, because I knew there had to be some people out there who were like me. And in my case, I felt alone for one reason only. It's because I felt like no one understands me. I'm so weird. I'm so unique. I have all these things I want to do. People don't understand what my journey is. Maybe I should just conform to this. I should say it like this. I should look like that. I was so focused on being judged by people. I was so focused on disappointing people that I didn't. I was like, I don't want to disappoint this person, so I'm not going to try at all. This person's going to leave me anyway, so I might as well go do these things. I'm going to leave this job anyway, so I might as well just leave. That's what I was for a lot of my life. Those are human emotions that I'll never apologize for, because if I didn't do any of those things, I wouldn't end up here. And I haven't met a person yet who is perfect. When you get into a world in your own mind and your own body, like we were talking about the supernova and things like that, where you can trace back human history all the way back to the pyramids, you go back to the ice age, to the dinosaurs, to how the formation, you're all connected to that. You are connected to all of that. So if all that stuff can happen, there's a lot of that miracle, life-changing type of things are happening right inside of your body and your mind. If you ever go look up a video on how the mind works, you should look at it. It's very interesting what the mind looks like, how it works internally. It's very interesting. It's beautiful. It looks like outer space. It looks like a solar system. It looks like a galaxy. It's beautiful. There's a lot going on in there. You are a living, breathing miracle. The fact that you're alive you are a miracle. You are a walking miracle. You don't need any more miracles. You are one. And you're going to get a big miracle in life. Everybody gets one, I believe. But you have to be patient and wait for it. There's been a lot of people who didn't. That's not saying that some people, every person on the planet deserves one. We're not talking about deserving. We're not talking about fairness. We're not talking about equal opportunity here. We're talking about each individual person holding themselves accountable for what you've been through. Regardless if it's your fault or not, you are responsible for your own happiness. You are responsible for yourself thriving in this world. No one owes you anything, not even the mother that brought you into this world. At a certain point, if you're an adult, it's time to be an adult and hold yourself accountable and make your own decisions and be happy with the decisions you make. Otherwise, you cannot complain about them. You have an opportunity. There are people out there who honestly don't have opportunities, who physically, mentally, spiritually can't do it. There are people who are in this world who have real hard struggles and problems that are preventing them to really thrive in this world the way they want. This message is for people who are fully capable, as we talked about with the Brave Never Fall. If you know you're fully capable of going out in this world and doing things that you know you can accomplish and you're choosing not to, that is a failure. That is a failure of judgment. That is a failure of will. That is a failure upon your very being in this world. You are leaving things on the table. Now, that is, again, your choice. But often I see, have you ever met someone who is a constant complainer? They're complaining about everything. Every time you meet them, they're complaining. I don't have this. I wish I had that. This happened to me. I don't know how to do this, so I'm not going to try. Why is this person doing this? That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. I wish. You ever think about those people and you start saying to yourself, this is getting exhausting. It's exhausting because a lot of the things these people are complaining about are things that they can fix on their own. Through time and patience, they can fix it on their own. And they're choosing not to. They want a miracle every single day of their life. They want somebody to hold their hand and walk them up to the counter of luck and cash in their ticket of miracles. It doesn't work like that. We all know it don't work like that. But these people do it. And they're frustrating. And I'm a very patient person. But those people test my patience more than anything because I just want to scream at them, which I don't like to scream. So if I get to the point where I want to scream, it's pretty bad. But these people, you just want to give them a giant wake-up call. You want to drag them over to a computer screen and start pulling up real people having problems. People with cancer. People losing their children. People born into slavery, which still happens around this world, by the way. People being racially abused, depending on where they're at. People who aren't equal, who can't move up the ladder in their companies because they're a certain sex or a certain race. There's all types of real problems people are living with. People who are losing their homes left and right, losing their jobs left and right. Family of people on vacation and have a car crash. These are real problems that people are having. Nations at war. These are all problems. These are real problems. And these people are talking about how come someone can't give me $20 so I can go out to the club this weekend? Or how come my horse died and now I can't be in my horse racing competition? It's just the most weirdest things you can think. Not that those things are weird, but the way that these people complain about them, you would think that they're life-threatening, and they're not. So it's a perspective thing. These people will never get ahead in life because they're complaining about things that yes, it's unfortunate you don't have the gas money to get to the club. Yes, it's unfortunate that you love to ride ponies and race horses and your horse died. I feel sorry for you. I really feel bad for you. But you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. This world has so many things going on that will happen to you, that have happened to you, and in the moment, you're kind of sandwiched in between those things. And you have to have it in your brain to know how to deal with different levels of stress. Because I like to concentrate my hope on big obstacles. I don't want to hope that I get through the next 2 hours. And because, there are people, again, with those complainers who will complain if you work an 8-hour shift, 40 hours a week, 40 hours of those week, those people complain about everything From the beginning to the end of those 40 hours. We've seen it. If you go to school with someone, they complain about every assignment that they get. And I just, there's no point in complaining about something that's small. It's going to pass before you know it. I want to concentrate on the bigger things. If I'm going to complain about anything, is that I'm not pushing myself harder to get to that next flag of hope. That I didn't help enough people. That I'm not the person that I need to be for someone else to want to mimic me and be a better person. Now, everybody can be whoever they want to be in life. There are people who need an edge. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the great thing about life, which goes back to purpose, is that we don't need a bunch of goody two-shoes in this world across the board. We need some people that has an edge to them. We need Navy SEALs. We need people who have a hard edge to them. But we also need pastors. Not that they can't be hard, not that Navy SEALs can't be soft. We're just talking about we need a nice range of dynamics here. And that's what makes it so important. When you're talking to somebody who feels like they don't have any hope, they do. You fit in this world. You just haven't found your little spot. Your niche. How you are going to contribute to this world through your purpose. But there is a need for you. And that's what I love about hope. Because you know there's a need for you. You just have to find it. And those flags of hope help you get there because you're just trying to get to the next flag and you just want to know more about yourself when you get to that flag. And how you do that is by testing yourself, getting more knowledge. Learning is a big component of figuring out who you are. The more you know about yourself. The more situations you put yourself in that aren't so comfortable, the more you know you can deal with life, because life isn't comfortable. There's nothing comfortable about waking up and going outside, and it's in some places it's 115 degrees, in other places it's 0 degrees. There's nothing comfortable about either one of those things. There's nothing comfortable about people still living in the jungle. There's nothing comfortable about people who live in the Arctic. But it's life, and they have a purpose, and there's a reason why they're there. And they're content with it. They're not complaining about their lifestyles. The people who live in the Arctic or near the Arctic Circle, if you're up in Alaska and you're near the Arctic Circle, they're not complaining. They want to be there. They can leave anytime they want. But there's other people in this world, again, dynamics, who are in places that are horrible and they can't go anywhere. But they're living. They're finding their purpose in what they do. It may have nothing to do with you. There's people, they're still finding indigenous people in all over the world. There's still tribes that you come across who have never seen a plane. They've never seen a cell phone. They've never watched a television. But those people have purpose in their lives. They wake up every day and go to sleep every night with their own purpose in their world. And they're right here sharing the planet with us. We have all these world wars going on, and these people have no clue that any of it happened. Just think about that. And they're walking around right now. There are people in this world walking around have absolutely zero clue that we've ever been to the moon. They don't know the name of anything that we're doing around the world. They don't know what Google is. You might as well be an alien from another planet if you walked up to them right now. And if you go look up some of the the articles that have been passed of some civilizations of people coming across these lost tribes and civilizations living in remote areas across the world, didn't have a happy ending because you disrupted something that you didn't understand. And these people had purpose, and the purpose is to protect what they have against outside threats. So even their purpose, we can't see it in the microcosm of the moment now, but they have had and always will have an overall arching purpose that goes far past what we can see. Because when you're that remote, most likely, unless something happens that's a big catastrophe that happens on this planet that's global, they're still going to be out there long after all these big, quote unquote, high society countries and nations destroy themselves at war. They're going to be safe. Unless, again, we have a nuclear holocaust, and that's a different story. But for the most part, individualized nations at war have nothing to do with those remote people. Again, contrast. These people have purpose. You walk up to the smallest person in that tribe and ask them what they do. They're going to say, this is what I do, and it's extremely important. This is my purpose in life. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then you have other people. Like, again, people who run countries. They have a far different purpose. It is no more or less valuable than the person who is in that remote indigenous tribe. It's a purpose. Because they're living, breathing people. And as long as you know who you are, you're always going to have hope. It's just trying to figure out who you are and trusting and believing in that and having faith in yourself. And that goes back to self-love. The more self-love you have for yourself, the more self-value you have for yourself, you will find your purpose every single time. Hope is but a few ideas and situations and knowledge and trusting your emotions and getting rid of negative people and things and places in your life and bringing in positive things in your life away. It's not that far away from you. That next flag is always closer than what you think. I do it all the time. I think a task would be so difficult, and I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, just start it and it's over before you know it. You've reached that flag, and sometimes I've gone past and didn't even realize I passed the flag. And I love that about life. But it comes from a conscious wanting, a conscious dive into your own psyche, pushing yourself past boundaries you never thought you could ever have, and saying to yourself, I want to get to that next flag. I want hope. I want to know that there's more out there. I want to give myself an opportunity for a miracle. If there is luck out there, I want to be at the right place in the right time to accept that luck. But you can't do it when you're standing still, bathing yourself in being comfortable and content in stasis. You're not going to go anywhere. And that's your choice. That's anyone's choice. But just remember, there are people out there who are going after it. They want more out of life. They're not content. They found their purpose. And when you find your purpose, it's almost impossible to stand still, because your purpose will continue revealing things about yourself that you're going to be excited about. The more you do, the more you know, the more you keep challenging yourself, you're going to always find something that's going to be very interesting to you, that's going to keep you moving. Regardless if it's just something small like a hobby or a new job opportunity, it's going to keep you moving. It's going to keep you wanting to explore more out of life. And you get done with a full calendar year and you're like, look at all the stuff that I did, because I kept moving. I didn't stand still. I kept reading books. I kept learning. I kept going outside and exercising. I kept trying to climb the ladder at work. I didn't accept mediocrity. I got rid of the people in my life who were toxic. I surrounded myself with positive people who have the same type of mindset and hope that as I do. Those are the things you want to be doing, and holding yourself accountable for all those things. Trying to get into a routine and trying to stay as balanced as possible in this crazy, crazy world. If no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall.